Johnson, joined with my co-host, Brad Warnicki.
Hey guys, how's it going?
We are finally here. It is top 8 of the Midseason Showdown here. Wow, what a day has it been so far?
It's about time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 7 rounds of Swiss, a long time.
Right.
And our top cut here is actually, it looks very, very competitive. Like, any one of these 8 players could win this tournament.
And yeah, we've already seen most of these players on stream before, and some of them taking pretty convincing victories already.
Yeah,
so.
I think 7 of the 8 players have actually played on stream this tournament that are in the top cut.
Oh, wow.
So you will see a lot of the same names. So that's good. We picked some good ones for you that meant for the Swiss round. So
right. So going right into it, as you see on your screen, we have Steven Morioka on the bottom of your screen, going up against Justin Crubaugh in this top 8 match here. Steven has a team of Tapu Koko, Araquanid, Garchomp, Ninetales, Porygon 2, and Arcanine. And Justin has Braviary, Garchomp, Kartana, Tapu Fini, Arcanine, and Snorlax.
Okay, so we do see some similar Pokemon. Both have Garchomp, both have Arcanine. Different forms of speed control. Magikarp's got the Braviary with possibly Tailwind, and Steven's got the Porygon 2 with the most likely Trick Room.
Right. And
the Ninetales with the Hail. But like we talked about before, the Araquanid did a lot of work in the last game we saw from Steven on stream. So it looks like it has a pretty good matchup again here. I mean, the Snorlax could give it a little bit of trouble, but other than that, it looks pretty good as long as it gets some good support and some good speed control. Yeah, it looks like on Justin's side, the Braviary might be the answer against the Araquanid as well. Maybe throwing out a Brave Bird or something like that. Right, exactly right. But as we saw before, Steven actually left Araquanid in the back, and Justin tends to lead with the Braviary. Okay. So if Justin can keep his Braviary around to handle that Araquanid, if Steven does bring it, that would be a very good thing for Justin. Right, and from what we've been told earlier, both of these players have already played each other in an earlier round of Swiss. So, correct, yep. Both of them have a pretty good idea of what each other's strategy is at this point, so this will be a very interesting game to watch. We'll see kind of how their mind games change up since they already know team matchup. We saw them. They probably made different plays in Swiss than we might see on here because of what they remember. So I believe Steven did take that in Swiss round 4 or 5. Okay, as we do see the Braviary lead alongside Kartana, and Steven responds with a Arcanine and a Ninetales. So okay, so we did not see the Ninetales in Swiss from Steven, and this is the first time we've seen it on stream all day. So Ninetales is a very interesting Pokemon. It obviously brings weather, which helps its Blizzard, 100% accuracy, but as we see Arcanine's Intimidate, it affected Braviary's Defiant, which gives it an attack boost. So a very big attack boost for that Braviary there. Might threaten some huge damage on either one of Steven's Pokemon here. Yeah, I'm not sure if Steven, I doubt he forgot that Braviary had Defiant. I mean, it's not a common Pokemon in this meta, but Steven's been around since 06. He knows what kind of Pokemon it is, so maybe he just thought Justin wouldn't bring it, or he was fine with a possible Blizzard and Snarl here to knock it out of some sort. So we do see the Braviary going for Protect there, wanting to protect its attack boost there. Extreme Speed going right into that Braviary, as we also see a Leaf Blade into the Ninetales, doing a little bit over half. And Blizzard going to be connecting with that Kartana, bringing it down to low HP, but not revealing any Focus Sash or Life Orb. Right, and we did see the hail damage hit both of these Mons, and I believe Braviary did have the Focus Sash in Swiss rounds, so that is a big deal for Steven. I'm not sure if he knew that, but we also saw that Kartana did win the speed tie over the Ninetales. So if both of them are trained to their max, they're both 109 base speed, so they could be playing a speed tie, and most of the time they are. Both of them tend to be max speed, so he did try to go for an extreme speed on the Braviary because he probably expected the Focus Sash to break the Sash with extreme speed and then get the KO before the hail damage. Right. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So he wouldn't get an attack off that turn. So we do see the Arcanine going for that extreme speed onto the Kartana. Not going to be enough to knock it out. Ninetales is going to set up an Aurora Veil here, having all damage on his side of the field. Leaf Blade going into that Ninetales, not enough to pick up the knockout after that Aurora Veil.
And we do see a Brave Bird coming out onto that Arcanine slot at +1. Not enough to KO. That Aurora Veil coming in pretty clutch
Yes,
here.
it definitely did. Well, we see Hail does take out the Kartana. So we did there at turn 2. Ninetales did move before Kartana that turn. So getting that Aurora Veil up actually helped it winning that speed tie that turn, so it was able to survive that Leaf Blade because it was definitely a 2-hit KO before that Aurora Veil.
Right. Very clutch speed win for Steven there.
Yeah. Well, you got to hope that you lose it the first turn, you lose the speed tie, and then you win the speed tie the second turn. But which was weird is we did not see a Smart Strike from Justin into the super effective ×4 on the Ninetales.
Right.
So that could mean that he doesn't carry it.
It's either that or maybe predicting a switch.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure there, but
yeah, I mean, the switch would have been a good idea. Predicting the switch, I mean, but because you think if you have a Smart Strike there, you're going to use it. But as we see the Arcanine come in and get an Intimidate on both of the Pokemon on Steven's side, which won't affect the Ninetales, but if the Arcanine, we did see Extreme Speed, so it probably is a physical attacker. And Steven's hoping that he can get a Blizzard damage off here unless Justin's Arcanine has Extreme Speed as well.
So both of Steven's Pokemon at super low HP here might be susceptible to some Extreme Speed damage here. Will be enough to knock out the Arcanine even under Aurora Veil. Ninetales will be able to fire off a Blizzard though. Being able to pick up a knockout onto the Braviary, so Ninetales going to be sticking around for a little bit longer here. Yeah,
and Justin did not look too happy because I think the Extreme Speed might have been a better play into the Ninetales there, but by his reaction, I think he might have thought Steven would have protected the Ninetales there to keep it around. So Steven went for a bold play there and deciding not to protect his Ninetales. And it ended up working out for him. He gets a free KO on Braviary.
Yeah.
With no Tailwind set up.
Right. And he brings in his Araquanid here, which...
there it is.
Going to be super threatening to that Arcanine. So what do you think Snorlax is going to do in this situation?
Take a lot of these hits. We don't know if it's Belly Drum or if it's Curse. So we'll have to wait to find out. But it's obviously the slowest thing. It's going to take a Blizzard unless Ninetales gets Extreme Speed, which he's not going to because he protects here.
Ninetales going for that Protect. Extreme Speed into the Protect there. Araquanid going for a Toxic onto that Snorlax.
That's going to be huge. That's a very good play there by Steven.
Going to be taking a lot of chip damage as we do see the Snorlax go for that Curse.
Yep. So it's probably the Curse variant rather than the Belly Drum variant.
The Belly Drum or the Stockpile variant.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, everybody taking a little bit of hail damage here, but that passive damage is going to be wearing down at that Snorlax, and I'm sure it want to stick around a little bit longer.
Right, and the thing is, Toxic is going to eat that Snorlax away because Justin cannot switch it out. He only has 2 Pokemon left, so the Toxic turns are just going to keep building and building and building more and more damage every single turn.
A potential way out of it is, do you think he has Rest?
He could.
Maybe.
It's definitely a possibility, and I'm sure it has a 50% berry. It's very likely, as we see the Extreme Speed going into the Ninetales to pick up the KO here from Justin's Arcanine.
Yeah, Ninetales not going to be able to do a whole lot else here. Liquidation going right into the Arcanine. Will cleanly pick up the knockout there. We've seen time and time again, Araquanid is so good at picking up those knockouts. Return going into the Araquanid, doing quite a bit of damage. Enough to secure a pretty clean 2-hit knockout, I think.
Yes, I definitely agree. And the thing is, we don't know what type of item Steven's Araquanid has. It's doing tons of damage with that liquidation. So it's something. It could be a boosting item. We don't know. I remember we just saw it use Toxic, so it's not like a choice band or anything like that. So that's interesting how much damage it's been doing in previous streams with the liquidation. But I think Steven's in a very, very good board position right now with the Tapu Koko, who's going to do a big chunk to that Snorlax. And as long as he can stall out the Snorlax, but Snorlax likes to stick around if it has one of those 50% berries.
Yeah, and barring any sort of spread move from Snorlax, it's going to have to single target return both of these Pokemon. So we do see Koko and Araquanid protecting, so trying to get a little bit of toxic damage out for free here. But yeah, we'll see what Justin decides to target this turn.
And Aurora Veil just wore off, so that Araquanid and Coco are going to take a lot more damage from Snorlax +1 returns. But as we do see, I don't know if Coco has... It does carry that Farium Z, so if he can hit that Farium Z after that Toxic, but Snorlax has Protect. So that if he hits the Farium Z here, it's not going to KO most likely, and he's going to proc one of those berries.
But yeah, unfortunately, Justin kind of forced into a Protect this turn. Most likely because he was predicting the Z move. Because I would assume that he saw that earlier.
Right, I'm sure Justin knew exactly what was happening, but this was Steven's best play, I believe.
Yeah.
Because if you knock this out here, it doesn't get the berry, but now it's most likely going to get the berry because through the Protect. And that was a crit and hardly did any damage.
Oh my gosh.
And the Z pops the Iapapa berry.
So Iapapa berry proccing. Snorlax almost back up to full health, but yeah, again, that poison. It's starting to take its toll on Snorlax
and
here.
The thing is now, Steven can just double protect this turn.
Yeah.
And is it back into a worse spot? So Justin, he's gonna have to hope for a misplay here by Steven because I think Steven's gonna pull a double protect here.
Yeah. We do see the Coco protecting and the Araquanid protecting. So keeping it safe in game one. Definitely want to do that.
Oh, he decides to boost because he expected to protect, so that's not a bad idea, but I still don't think it puts him in a favorable position because that boosts his defense and Coco's special attack, Thunderbolt. It's probably going to do enough.
Yeah.
It'll be close, but Snorlax can only knock out one Pokemon at a time, right?
Right.
So, unless it has some type of spread move that we haven't seen yet, but it's not looking good for Justin right now. And the way Steven plays with these protects, he's very defensive and likes to put himself in the best position as we see Justin forfeit.
All right, game one going to Steven here. Pretty solid play from the Araquanid. This time not on the defensive side, not the offensive side. So
Araquanid did very well again. I mean, Steven uses it, and you could tell that it's a big part of his team late game.
Right, and it's so versatile. It's like it was able to knock out the Arcanine kind of in the mid game and then stall out the Snorlax.
Right.
Game, so.
Once it got the Toxic on the Snorlax, I mean, not many of them carry Toxic. We've seen it before, but that's a very good tech for Snorlax that's coming up. Is fast in the meta. A lot of people are carrying it. We've seen a bunch of times on stream, so it's good for Steven to have that move to get rid of that Snorlax.
Yeah, maybe we'll start seeing the immunity Snorlax.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, I don't know. So going into game two, is there anything that Justin can really do differently, you think?
I think Tailwind might be a good idea because the Coco ended up doing pretty good damage when he was faster, and with the speed tie, we did see that Kartana and Ninetales do speed tie.
Right.
So if he can get a Tailwind up, I think that's a big play for him to end up getting rid of that Ninetales and Arcanine pretty quickly.
I suppose the one thing that Justin also needs to consider is that Steven could bring in that Porygon 2 and maybe potentially try to set up Trick Room.
Yeah, I agree. See, that's what's weird. We thought that the first time. We like, oh, he's got Araquanid and P2. You know, a lot of people like to put them on teams if they're too fast. And we look, Steven's got a lot of fast Pokemon on his team.
Right.
So people say, well, why not throw Porygon 2 and Araquanid on there?
Yeah.
But the thing is, we've seen Araquanid do tons of damage and get plenty of KOs on stream, but never had Porygon 2 there to back him up. So
yeah, it's pretty impressive that it's able to kind of control games by itself, even without the support, I guess.
Yeah, and I don't know if he could bring Tapu Fini here, Justin, maybe because it's not good against Ninetales. You know what I mean? It's not good against Coco. So I don't know what Justin can do here. I think he needs to keep his Katana in a better position to get a win here
and set up the Tailwind early.
Right.
To challenge that Ninetales speed tie.
Yep.
Alrighty.
And see if we have Smart Strike.
Yeah. We'll confirm that this game. So Justin leading off with Tapu Fini and Braviary. So potential for setting up Tailwind here once again. And we do see the same lead from Steven, the Arcanine and Ninetales. Going to be proccing that Defiant ability off the Intimidate here. So Braviary at +1 attack once again.
Yeah, but I don't. From most of it, doing it 2 times in a row, I don't think Steven cares. is what it seems like. You know what I mean? Because he thinks he's going to knock out this Braviary turn 1, either with a Blizzard and an Extreme Speed, so he doesn't get any moves off, or the Hail damage KOs him after Blizzard.
Barring a Protect.
Right, which is what happened first turn last game, and then he got him the second turn. So it depends if Steven wants to make a read and possibly freeze dry the Tapu Fini, get super effective damage, and the Arcanine looks like a physical attacker, so if he wants to throw an Extreme Speed or maybe even a Wild Charge.
Yeah. Oh, we do see the Braviary actually switching out. Not wanting to kind of fall prey to Steven's offensive pressure here. Arcanine coming in its place, bringing in that Intimidate. Going to be lowering that Arcanine's attack. Ninetales going for a Blizzard. Not going to be doing a whole lot of damage to either of these Pokemon here. Both are resistant. Wild Charge going into the Tapu Fini, but at -1. Going to be able to tank a little bit more of that damage.
Yes, sir.
Muddy Water coming out.
Hoping for accuracy drops.
Oh, let's see. Connects with both Pokemon. It actually knocks out the Arcanine outright without a crit. And yeah.
No accuracy drop. That could be a item choice on the Fini that we're seeing here, because that Muddy Water spread damage did a lot to that Arcanine. And we don't know, the Arcanine could not be very bulky on the special end, but usually they survive that. So
potentially choice specs?
Right, and that's, a boosting item for the special attack on Fini, so we'll have to see if he switches out or uses the same move here again.
Okay. We do see the Tapu Koko coming back in for Steven. Going to be bringing in that electric terrain, so Tapu Fini definitely seems like a sort of bad position here.
Yeah, it's not in a good one at all. It doesn't have his terrain up anymore, so Arcanine and Tapu Fini can actually get frozen now. So, I mean, you'll probably get a Blizzard here. You might get a Thunderbolt in the Fini, but I expect Fini to be switched unless Justin thinks he's got his worth out of it and doesn't mind it getting knocked out. But it's the slowest Pokemon on the field right now, so it's gonna be. I'm gonna be very surprised if it actually gets an attack off this turn.
Yeah, Steven could possibly read into this as well. We'll see here. Tapu Fini does return for Justin's side, and he brings in the Snorlax. Going to be tanking those moves there. Ninetales protecting this turn from the Arcanine damage there.
Ooh, okay.
Discharge coming out for Steven. Going to be doing a decent chunk of damage to both. As we do see the Ayapapa Berry proccing for that the Citrus Berry, excuse me, proccing for that Arcanine, and Arcanine hitting into that Protect. So
yeah, dead turn for Justin there. I mean, he got a free switch into the Snorlax. The Fini wasn't targeted, so Steven probably knew, maybe. So we'll have to see what happens here, and hopefully Justin can put himself in a better situation. But Snorlax, I think, is in a good spot.
Snorlax not being threatened by the Toxic anymore.
Right.
It can actually, it seems like it can actually do a little bit more work here.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to eat up the Blizzard pretty well, because his special defense is relatively high on Snorlax, so, and Arcanine's obviously going to take it well, so Tapu Koko's in a good spot here as we see Ninetales go back to Steven.
Raquinid coming in its place.
You said what about Toxic?
Volt Switch going into the Snorlax there. Going to be switching out Tapu Koko here as the Snorlax triggers its Ayapapa Berry. Going to be switching back for Steven. He has the option to potentially bring in the Ninetales once again.
It almost looks like he's going to sacrifice the Ninetales here if that slot gets targeted.
So the Flare Blitz is going off into the Araquanid slot here, so going to be able to easily tank that fire type damage. We do see the Curse come up a little bit earlier than last game. Snorlax might be able to do a little bit more damage here.
Yeah, I think Steven actually made a good switch there. I mean, Justin could have had a free KO on that slot, if he attacks the Koko slot with almost anything. Ninetales wouldn't have survived any attack from Snorlax or Arcanine there, so Steven got to switch his Pokemon around just like he wanted to. Araquanid barely took any damage because of its ability. It doesn't take very much damage from fire type attacks, especially because it's resisted anyway, and it can't be burned from something like a Flare Blitz. So, it's in a good position again, Araquanid, so it just depends if he'll Toxic Snorlax again this turn instead of liquidating the Arcanine like Game 1.
We do see Protect coming out from Arachnid.
And Justin seems pretty happy about that.
Yeah, possibly reading into it. We'll see what happens here. Blizzard going out onto Justin's side. Not enough to do much. Oh my gosh! Arcanine. Okay, okay. I'm just like, if he had clicked Wild Charge or something, that would have been terrible. So, Flare Blitz melting through the ice, thankfully for Justin here. We do say take recoil damage, still alive. Return gonna be going into that Protect though.
I think Justin took a pretty good lead at this turn if Arcanine survives the hail damage, and it does. So it's on a timer, but he can get one more attack off, but he's got the Tapu Koko in the back to Steven, so that'll be the fastest thing. You gotta assume it's gonna target the Arcanine, but because Arcanine, I don't know if hail ends this turn, because if it does, Arcanine's going to survive another turn, but we might just see a quick extreme speed or something from the Arcanine, or
possibly a discharge from the Koko.
Oh yeah, we could see a protected. Arachnid protected last turn.
Oh, if it has Wide Guard, you can, yeah.
Yes, if it also has Wide Guard, but it has Toxic, Liquidation, and Protect, right? So Wide Guard's still a possibility. I mean, if he has it, that's very well. You could use that, and then free damage on Arcanine and the Snorlax. So,
but yeah, that Snorlax being at +1. Huge threat here.
Right, especially the defense too. The Arachnid will have to most likely toxic it again.
We do see Justin going for Protect here, trying to hold on to some HP. Dazzling Gleam going right into the Arcanine, going to be finishing that off. So Arachnid going to be hitting into this Protect for not much.
Yeah, it looked like Justin was, and the hail did stop, so Arcanine would have survived another turn, but Justin seems fine with his Arcanine going down that turn, got a lot out of it. Now here comes the Braviary, staring down at Tapu Koko, but we do know it's Focus Sash, so the Tapu Koko cannot KO it this turn. But the Arachnid could also Protect, so Braviary might need to bait out a Protect here from Arachnid. With a Protect of himself, of course.
Right. Do you think Steven just doubles the Snorlax?
I don't think that's a bad play at all. I think well, let's see, he could Discharge. Does he have Thunderbolt? Have you seen the Thunderbolt?
We saw the Volt Switch.
Volt Switch and Discharge, so I don't know if either one of those can KO the Snorlax with the Liquidation. It'll be close because of the Curse Boost for defense.
Right.
So it'll be pretty close, but I don't think that's a bad play at all. Braviary, it depends if he protects or not this turn, and he doesn't.
Oh, we do see the Fairy Z move coming out from Tapu Koko, most likely going after that Snorlax.
I agree. I do believe it's going to be at the Snorlax.
Going for that Twinkle Tackle.
Such a funny Z move.
Just coming right in there.
For the record, I don't think Tapu Koko can tackle a Snorlax.
No, but that's pretty crazy.
And the Snorlax does live.
Snorlax survives. Justin going for a Brave Bird right into that Arachnid.
And it gets it. Yep.
Gonna be enough to knock that out. And Tapu Koko is left at the mercy of this Snorlax here.
But this will KO, right?
Yep.
Because if that misses, Steven wins with a Discharge.
Right.
So, hey, Justin pulls back, and we love Game 3s, right?
Yeah.
So here it is. Game 3 in a top 8 with 2 Worlds players. We can't ask for more.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, man, that was pretty incredible play from Justin there. He really seemed to take it back from Game 1.
Yeah, it was completely different. Game 1 felt like Steven was in command. You know, it still felt that way early in Game 2, but I think Justin switched it up just a little bit and changed his Pokemon around. Switches, brought Tapu Fini instead of Kartana, and that ended up being better for him. I mean, I think he did a very good job at keeping his Pokemon very healthy. So I think he did a good job.
Yeah, just trying to conserve Pokemon is super important in VGC. Like knowing when to protect, knowing when to make the right plays. So
right, and I do think Justin, he changed it up so well that Steven's gonna have to do something different here.
Right.
They both, Steven won defensive switching Game 1. Justin won defensive switching Game 2, and that's a lot of the VGC 17 meta. Defensive switching, the Fire, Water, Grass core, which Justin has. So I think there's going to be a lot of that again, and it's just, can each player make the right read?
Right.
So it's going to be, we haven't seen the Garchomps from either one of the players, and I don't think they're going to bring them. then neither one of them are that good against the opposing team. I mean, Steven's Garchomp doesn't do anything to the Braviary or the other Garchomp or Kartana or Tapu Fini, you know, I mean, and Snorlax even. It's good for the Arcanine, but that's why he's got the Araquanid. So I don't think Steven changes it up. I think he's going to bring the same 4 Mons. Unless he decides to bring the P2, but he likes leading that Ninetales to break that sash of Braviary.
Right.
And even if he leads the Arcanine, he's okay with getting the Defiant boost on the Braviary.
Yeah. I mean, after playing what at most 5 games already in the same day against each other, like these players must both be in each other's inside each other's heads.
Right, definitely. And there's only so much you can change up, you know. You don't want to change it up so much where you're in trouble and you're not playing your game. You still want to play your game to make sure you're comfortable in what you're doing to hopefully pull out a win.
Yeah, because sometimes changing it up can backfire. So
right, exactly. You change it up too much, you're gonna forget how to play it, and you know that's not good news.
Right. So going into Game 3 of this top 8 set here. The winner will advance to top 4 versus the winner of Alex versus Ken. So this will be a huge game for both of these players.
Yes,
so.
We see the same lead as Game 2 for Justin.
And we see the same lead for Steven as well. So
not the same. They switched to positions.
So once again, the Intimidate going to be proccing that Defiant boost.
And again, I'm going to say it again, Steven doesn't care. Is what it looks like.
Yeah.
And he's totally fine with that. So, and Tapu Fini's gonna not care about the Intimidate, and it gets his Misty Surge up.
So when we saw this during Game 2, like, it seemed like Justin took more advantage of it because he had the Tapu Fini out with the Muddy Water early on. Do you think maybe Steven's gonna go for more damage against the Fini?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised here because he did a lot of damage. So maybe Steven knows the item that Justin's carrying. So maybe we could see an electric type move into the Fini and a freeze dry.
Oh, so like a wild charge?
Yes. Yeah. I doubt it has the electric Z move. But I mean, something like that to see, or Arcanine can protect.
Yeah, Arcanine going for that protect, trying to dodge some Muddy Waters. Blizzard going out. Justin opting not to switch out his Braviary this time. Will be able to set up that Tailwind though.
There it is.
Huge board position for Justin here, as we do see the Muddy Water play going into the Ninetales slot. Gonna see how much damage this will do. Wow. Oh, it does half. Like,
yeah,
you have to think at this point that has to be specs.
Right. I mean, because if they're not, they're usually not that invested in special attack. Yeah. So, and Ninetales, not a very bulky Pokemon, but it's not going to take a water hit, you know, at 50% every single time.
Right.
Like so, I think Justin does have possible specs on that. And now Steven's in a rough position. He might extreme speed the Braviary, but I'm assuming Braviary will protect. So this is another mind game turn because being under that Tailwind, Tapu Fini's Muddy Water is going to rip through that Arcanine just like it did in Game 2.
Right.
So, but Muddy Water can miss. It is not very accurate. So we'll have to see what each trainer decides to do here.
We could potentially see Braviary switch as well.
We could, if he wants. He did do that last game, so we'll have to see if he decides that he needs it in the back or not.
Yeah, that Arcanine switch in here would be pretty huge, but Braviary staying in to take that extreme speed is going to get knocked out.
Yeah, that mind game, Steven, he got that one there.
Yeah, the Muddy Water, though, connecting with both of Steven's Pokemon, going to be doing a huge amount of damage here. Oh! Knocking out both the Ninetales and the Arcanine here.
Justin's really happy about that.
Yeah.
I guess losing that Braviary is totally worth it, right? I mean, he could have protected the Braviary there, and he'd have both Mons still out there.
Right.
But I guess when you pick up 2 KOs on Ninetales and an Arcanine with your Tapu Fini, you got to be happy about that.
And he's still pretty healthy, too.
Right, exactly. All it's taken, I think, is the hail damage and a little bit of Blizzard. So.
Right.
And it's not going to get frozen thanks to his terrain.
And he has Tailwind up. It's
just 2 full turns of Tailwind coming, so...
Wow.
Justin put himself in a good spot right now, and Steven can't switch. These 2 Pokemon are on the field for the rest of the game. And Snorlax comes out, so he's going to hang out there for a while. He's there to stay, and hopefully for Steven, he can get some good damage with possibly a Toxic or some Electric-type moves from the Tapu Koko.
We do see the Araquanid come in for Steven here. not threatened as much by that Snorlax because it's not boosted yet, and obviously won't be taking too much from that Tapu Fini. So, what would you expect Steven to do in this situation?
See, this is tough. Like, if he has Wyguard, he could do a Discharge, but that's not going to knock out the Fini. I mean, it could because of its specs. It's not really going to be that bulky, but Discharge being a 3 Pokemon spread damage, it often doesn't do a lot.
Right.
And we noticed that he's not Life Orb, and Tapu Koko's special attack isn't all that high because he's carrying the Ferium type Z. So we do see Fini go back because Justin wants to save that for later.
Arcanine coming in its place, going to be dropping Araquanid's attack stat by 1 stage. Going to be important in keeping Justin's HP up. Coco going for a Protect here, as we do see the high horsepower, just as we saw in last game. And Araquanid uses this opportunity to get a Toxic off, so Steven, even though at -1, still trying to get his way in there, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, that was his play there. He had to make that, right? Because it's not going to do anything to the Fini, the Araquanid, so that Toxic is pretty big on the Snorlax, and when he got his train up with his own Tapu Koko, it's fair game. As long as Toxic hits, it's not 100%, so we could see another Twinkle Tackle come out by the Koko, but I don't know if a Liquidation -1 will knock out this Arcanine. It depends on how Justin's is built, so I think Justin's in a pretty good position right now, but when his Fini comes back in, he will have the terrain advantage, which puts him and Coco and not boosted Life Orb and not with terrain in a tough spot.
Right. We could see that Fini actually switch back in with the Arcanine right away to nerf that damage and take a possible liquidation from Steven. So.
Right. And the Snorlax isn't boosted or anything, but we see a Flare Blitz come out from Justin's Arcanine into the Tapu Koko slot of Steven, which does not pick up the KO, which was close, but not enough.
That was close. Coco going for a Volt Switch in return, possibly predicting that switch in there. Arcanine proccing its Citrus Berry, bringing it up to about 35%. As we do see a return going into that Tapu Koko, going to be able to finish it off. So -1 Araquanid versus the rest of Justin's team here.
Yeah, it's not looking too good.
We do see it knock out the Arcanine though, so.
Yeah, but he's got Tapu Fini in the back, and the damage that Araquanid at -1 with Liquidation is the only attack we've seen. It isn't going to do much, and it can't Toxic the Fini.
Right.
Because of the Mystery Terrain coming in. So I think Justin put himself in a great position for this end game. And we've seen this a couple times today where the person winning game 1 ends up losing 2 and 3.
Right.
And the player makes adjustments, and this is what happens. And now Justin's support position is amazing.
Yeah, super dominant out here with the Tapu Fini and the Snorlax here. Even unboosted Snorlax, like it's going to be able to do quite a chunk of damage to the Araquanid. So we do see it Protect, trying to get some toxic damage onto that Snorlax, but
yeah, Steven's not going to give this up. He's going to play every last second of this because Steven always feels that he has a chance to win, and that's good to have as a player, you know what I mean? He said, well, if I can get so many protects off here, I can win, and you got to do a little bit of damage, but with -1 Water Spider, it did great for him, but at this position, it's not in the best position for himself, unless he can get a crit.
A crit onto the Snorlax. Oh, we do see it Protect, however, so Tapu Fini is going to be able to fire off a Moonblast for free here.
Oh yeah, definitely Specs.
Oh yeah, that did quite a lot of damage.
Definitely Specs. And now this Toxic is gonna pop his berry, so it's. I mean, that's why he protected Snorlax that turn, because if he gets crit liquidation, he might go down. But now Snorlax is relatively healthy, besides the poison that he's gotten.
He'd be able to survive a liquidation at this range.
Yeah, now Steven's in a rough spot. He can protect here again, which he probably will. But maybe not, because he's looking at his move time. I mean, he's got 1 Mon out there, and so he's looking at his notes, and he's thinking hard. I mean, there's no reason for him to back out of this. So, hey, we've seen crazier things happen.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, wow, the Tapu Fini really putting in a lot of work this game.
That was his adjustment. He did not bring Kartana the game 2 and 3, and I think that helped him. And it might be safe to say he does not have Smart Strike, because we did not see that on the Ninetales, and Steven is deciding to forfeit, I guess, and Justin Crubaugh is going to move on to top 4.
Congratulations to Justin. going to be taking that set 2-1 over Steven Morioka. So he will be moving on to play the winner of Alex versus Ken. So.
And we will get you those as soon as we know. They could be over, but we haven't heard yet. So we will update the top cut bracket as soon as we can. But both of those players did a fantastic job today. One moves on, one doesn't. It's unfortunate. But good run by Steven. Had a good day. Finished X1 in cut and just happened to face someone, And
honestly, like that best of 3 set was really solid.
It was good.
Both
it was
players,
a very good one, yes.
Honestly.
And Steven beat him in Swiss, so Justin came back and got him in top cut,
That's goes to show that playing in the same day, especially playing against the same person, like you learn a lot of different tendencies and the team. You learn a lot about the team matchups. So,
right.
That's going to be super important for the rest of our top cut players to keep going here. So
yeah, I agree, and we should have a good one for top 4 next. So I know Diana actually did move on, Diana Bros. So she will be in top 4. Facing the winner of Sam and Daniel Thorpe. So
right, yeah.
That's the 1-8 matchup that Diana